Good morning, and thank you for joining us today. What I would like to draw your attention to today is to really focus on what the future of retail will look like. To do so, let's look more specifically at what are the challenges and opportunities that retailers are facing in the process of rapid transformation in this time. Well, let's start by taking into consideration one of the IDC predictions in retail. And indeed, by 2023, a major retailer will completely announce a touchless, contactless in-store experience by implementing technologies that are more and more oriented by leveraging toward the customer, by leveraging voice activation, gesture, and motion-sensitive technologies. Well, in order to do so, retailers need really to achieve a real-time contextual customer experience. However, we need also to take into account and into consideration what's going on in the retail market. First of all, society demands for more collaborative and transparent culture. This reflects not only within the organization, but also across the different organizations. Second, sustainability is a must. This is something that really is part of the disruptive supply chain in retail, as well as a good point of interaction with customers and consumers in order to really respond to the need for a more sustainable future. At the same time, the third aspect, customer stream of life is disrupted and reshaped by these different drivers, but also by the way in which retailers and brands are focusing on shopping experience and shopping journey. And we all assisted to the rise of social commerce by implementing new technologies and advanced technologies such as AR and VR. Well, all of these internal and external forces that are shaping the retail industry today inevitably fosters brands and retailers to really accelerate their transformation journey and their plans, with plans that were planned actually in 2 years' time, but nowadays are really reduced and accelerated and produce an accelerations in about 2 months. What we all assisted is the fact that the retail extended value chain need to adapt to this change. These inevitably take into account supply chain that are under constant pressure in order to really respond to need in real time, store systems and operations that must be real time in order to respond to customer needs. And this applies also to modern merchandising and marketing that need to respond in a more intelligent and autonomous way. But let's look also at the online world. When we talk about e-commerce, and in particular e-commerce planning and operations, well, these require more innovative assets and resources in order to better respond to customer experience that need to be contextual and contextualized. And let's look also on the other side of the coin, that is the employee experience and the way in which employees nowadays expect to work on hybrid workplace and to really be more flexible and adapt to the change in real time in terms of also of job executions. But inevitably, there is a long way to customer experience and particularly to real-time contextual customer experience. As a matter of fact, as part of our IDC survey research, only 24% of retailers nowadays are implementing real-time contextual customer journey model. And at the same time, customer experience represents still a top challenging core business process for retailers' transformation journey. And this is a crucial point and a crucial aspect, because actually, when we talk about retail extended value chain, customer experience stays really at the center of it. We all have seen as consumers, as customers, different experiences and different aspects across the different retail extended value chain, whether online or offline in store, but also in terms of inventory management, when we look for specific orders, when we ask for support to a brand, for example, but also in terms of personalized content. And in terms of experiences and best practices that retailers have put in place, One of the best examples is the one of Lululemon, for example, that during the pandemic has accelerated investment on their RFID tags in order to increase inventory accuracy and ameliorate overall omnichannel fulfillment. This has been reflected in terms of increasing ROI in less than 1 year, and also ameliorate and increasing contextual real-time customer experience overall, not only online, actually during the pandemic, but today also offline, thanks to the different technologies and the implementation of new technologies also in store operations and store systems. So nowadays, when we ask retailers what are the top priorities for their major investment in the next 12, 24 months, well, actually, the main crucial point and aspect that retailers are pointing to are increasing e-commerce sales, increasing store source revenue, so both increasing profitability actually online and offline, by pointing at customer experience. How? Well, why? Increasing customer loyalty. Another important point here and another important data to highlight here is the fact that only 29% of retailers have pointed to the importance of achieving omnichannel retail. And this is not due to the fact that omnichannel retail does not matter anymore. It's on the opposite. In order to really achieve omnichannel retail and even moving beyond omnichannel retail, companies need to focus on the specific challenges that they are still facing when looking at the retail extended value chain. As said, there are persisting challenges to build and to really achieve the future of retail. Let's see more in detail what are these challenges by looking at the different core business processes. Supply chain, for example. Compliance, and particularly security and regulatory compliances, is still one major challenge. Together with tech applications and tech integrations of these applications within the systems, whether online, whether offline, whether the supply chain is linked to a pure e-commerce, for example, player, but also to retailers and brands that work online and offline in store with store presence. Another important aspect is related to making data accessible across the value chain. And bear in mind, this is a crucial dimension and a crucial challenges that affect all the retail core business processes. Let's see, for example, how it impacts in terms of store operations and store systems. Data is a top challenge that retailers are facing, together again with security, with regulatory compliance, and the existing complexity of customer interfaces. This is reflected to merchandising and marketing. When we talk about data, the accessibility of data across the value chain, again, security and regulatory compliance, and the complexity of enterprises user interfaces. Bear in mind that when we talk about user interfaces here, we are seeing how the complexity affect not only the enterprises per se, as we are seeing in the case of marketing and merchandising, but also the customers on the other side. And this is something on which retailers need to really invest and really point attention over the next 1-2 years. As said, this is something that we find even when we talk about e-commerce, enterprises user interfaces. Third, data processing and management, and also security and regulatory compliances. The same applies, or similarly to that, applies to customer experience. Data is at the core of it across the different core business processes along the retail value chain, but also complexity in both terms, as I said, in terms of customer interfaces as well as in terms of enterprises user interfaces. And this is reflected also on the other side of the coin, employee experience. When we talk about the challenges and we look at the challenges on retail core business processes related to employee experience, we see again, once more, customer interfaces complexity, the importance of data and managing data within the organizations, but also externally to the organization. And this is an aspect that we are going to see in a minute. And integration and tech integration with other applications and with other systems. Of course, Next to these challenges, there are already existing capabilities on which retailers are currently investing to really achieve the future of retail business objectives. Let's see more in detail some aspects. In particular, when we look at the customer experience processes, customer support, data management, analytics that we have seen are part of the challenges, but are still part of the key applications on which retailers are currently investing to ameliorate and increase customer experience. As said, and in a sort of planning and an horizontal evolution of the investment that retailers are planning, there are also loyalty management, identity management. But this aspect cannot go first if aspects like customer support, data, analytics are not implemented before of that. And this is something that we have seen with the case of Adidas, for example, with the Experience It All and the Adidas Creator Club, that actually really aim to achieve real-time contextual customer experience through your Creators Club membership that try to connect online and offline shopping journey, thanks also to the mobile apps, for example, in order to really create exclusive membership and put loyalty at the center of it. But how? Well, implementing all the necessity applications that retailers need before, such as data, such as analytics. And this is something on which Adidas has invested more and more in the latest years. Let's move specifically on the context of the offline, and particularly in store. When we talk about in-store customer experience nowadays in retail, we refer specifically to contactless by design. This is really the quintessential aspect of the store shopping experience. Retailers are investing in order to ameliorate customer experience on store operations, such as curbside pickup, click and collect options, as these can really meet customers' need, especially, for example, in the context of the pandemic, but also loss prevention and fraud management within the system with facial recognition, with new modes of detection within the store, in order to really secure the overall shopping experience. But also, let's see on the aspect related to return process or in-store inventory management, how these really interact with the customers first and also with the online world, as we have seen in the case of Lululemon. But this is something that we have seen also in other contexts of retailers, such as food and groceries, like Marks and Spencer's, that include and implemented an innovative click and collect options for customers and consumers by serving and by using self-service touch screens that eliminate actually waiting time in store. And the importance, again, of the role of the store that remain crucial inevitably is something that is also highlighted by John Lewis and in John Lewis' strategy definitions of the role of the store. As it's important, it's an important place that really match customers' need and customers' tastes, even taking into account what's going on in the local market. And trying to learn from what's going on in the local market to really extend and to really respond in a more contextualized way to customers' needs. Another important aspect when we talk about overall retail core business processes applications is related to the e-commerce capabilities that, first of all, digital native enterprises are implementing, like voice search, but also payment management, catalog management, store inventory, and operation sharing. Bear in mind, this is an aspect, a common aspect that we have seen when we talk about, we just talked about the store operations and the store system. As inventory is something that really needs to speak the same language online, whether offline, not only internally to the organizations, but nowadays also directly to the customer and to the consumer. And these are the e-commerce capabilities that really, which retailers are currently investing on to really unify shopping venues and remove any sort of frictions that can be also reflected in store in case of the presence of retailers in store. Talking about pure e-commerce players, an example of that is Zalando. and the way in which Zalando trying to really foster collaboration within its own retail and finance team to share real-time data and to drive real-time decisions in order to really adapt inventory, to really adapt the offering, to really adapt the promotions to what customers are searching for through the mobile app, through the Yahoo search, and through the knowing the customer, loyal customers, and also their tastes. This is crucial. Data is at the center of it. Another important aspect that we also need to take into account, as I mentioned before, is the ecosystem. The partner ecosystem, not just with technology vendors, that is important and essential, and we will come up to it later, but also with peers and especially with CPG, in order to extend the value itself of the overall retail value chain. Well, when we talk about collaboration, there are different forms of collaborations nowadays, such as inventory management, order fulfillment, promotions, collaboration on planograms, as well as sharing data of customers with suppliers. And if on the side of delivery executions, data sharing, production and inventory management, collaboration is essential. There are strong benefits that we have recently, and one of our research recently highlighted. First of all, reducing time of labor, increase accuracy in terms of customer experience personalizations, that it's essential when we talk about real-time contextual customer experience, better online promotions to the customer demand, and first of all, to customer loyalty programs, increasing the rate of on-time e-commerce deliveries, and at the same time, decrease the cost of e-commerce deliveries. So there are really a lot of benefits in terms of collaboration. And this should be part of the mindset in the definition of the retail next strategies for achieving the future of retail. So I really want to leave you with some action point in order to really build your how and future of retail. First of all, let's focus on what are your strategic priorities. Identifying your own strategic priority, putting the initiatives and defining the initiatives along the horizons time frame that you have in relation, of course, to your strategy that relate to commerce, to product merchandising, to customer experience management, digital supply chain, operational scales, and agility, and build based on the applications on which you need to really focusing on in order to overcome existing challenges and the challenges that you are facing, a hybrid multi-cloud platform that really serves and acts as a sort of hub of all these applications across the retail different core business processes. Second, automation. Prioritize the implementation of application that really allows you to automate the process, not just for marketing and merchandising, but actually across the retail extended value chain, and invest on the management of data. We are nowadays talking about customer data platform, but there are different technologies and aspects and platform on which you can really focus in order to integrate both customers and enterprise data. Data should talk. You have to give the possibility to data to provide you the answer, actually, through automation, through a better processing of information. And last but definitely not least, find the right technology partners that can really support you, not just in terms of pure tech expertise and technology solutions to provide you in building your own platform, but also valuable partners and technology partners that can really help you and support you in underlining your business challenges, your business priorities, and achieve the future of retail. Thank you for your attention, and feel free to connect with us for any question. Thank you.